Hey.
So, I have a question for you, so I can have another question for you.
Oh, okay.
Do you ever get where, like, when you're standing for a really long time and you realize that, like, out of anxiety or just from the effort of standing that you're clenching your butt cheeks together? And so you stop, and then you think, well, if there's someone behind me, I hope they didn't just see me unclench my butt cheeks real fast.
Uh-huh.
Has that ever happened to you?
Probably. That sounds about right.
I ask that so that I can ask, how many takes do you think Colin Farrell ruined in the last shot of the slow pan away from his butt? Like, if we're halfway through, it's just like,
Well, spoiler, you just gave away the ending.
The ending is Colin Farrell's butt cheeks slowly unclenching after having to have made this movie.
I hope he ripped so much ass in that shot. So... now here's my question for you. Which movie would you rather have been at? Because I was at Wonder by myself earlier. Both of us were at Roman J. Israel Esquire. Can't forget the Esquire.
Something between a gentleman and a lord.
Uh-huh. And it's a former Springfield movie theater. So, I texted you, the other day, like, hey, you want to go see Roman J. Israel Esquire?
Man, I guess that's kind of boring.
Like, well, you could also go see Wonder if you want. I'm also going to be at that.
And so I Googled them to see which ones had the longer running time. And it turned out that Roman J. Esquire won, but only by a couple minutes. So I was like, well, whatever. I'll just see Roman J. Esquire because I really don't want to see a little disfigured fella get picked on for, 2 hours.
Here's the thing. You made a mistake.
I made a mistake. Because turns out Wonder was really good, you guys.
Man, Roman J. Israel Esquire. I'm actually glad that I was by myself at Wonder and you were at this one with me, because I'll have no problem explaining Wonder to you. Like, I mean, you've seen the trailer, you know what the movie's about. Like, if I had to sit here and describe Roman J. Israel Esquire to you, I have no fucking idea.
No, I got it. Have you seen the preview? Then you got it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, more or less, because
I was, like, watching for scenes that were in the preview to be like, okay, that means that we're further along. Okay, that means we're further along. Okay, that means we're almost to the end.
This is, I don't know... If this movie doesn't know why it's here, then I don't know why I'm here. Like, it's one of those movies. There is nothing in this movie that's terrible. There's nothing in it that I would say is overall bad. It's not a poorly made movie. It's not a poorly acted movie. It probably gives you what it's selling from the trailer. Maybe. I don't know. But there's also nothing that good about it.
Not really, no. And this, like, because there was points where I was like, maybe they're trying for, like, something allegorical, because someone would say something that didn't make sense in the scene, but felt like they were trying to get at something deeper, but if there was, I couldn't get it. And this movie was unfortunately bringing out, like, the worst of my ADD, where like, if I had been able to, like, be playing with my phone and catch the gist of it, or, like, be painting my nails while I was watching it, I would have been fine.
Yeah.
But just, like, sitting and watching this movie and doing nothing else, I was squirming by halfway through.
Because this movie frequently almost happens. Like, sometimes... Okay, the plot line is that, Denzel Washington is gritty reboot Norbit, and he's an attorney, and he clearly has some kind of social disorder. This movie's from the writer and director of Nightcrawler, which is a great movie that was about something, was certainly about a character that was very sociopathic in Nightcrawler, and it built from there and had this intriguing plot surrounding it. This movie seems to be under the guise that the only thing it took away from Nightcrawler is that it had a lead character that obviously has some kind of mental issues, and then just sort of stopped there. This movie, again, like I said, there are plenty of times where a movie almost happens in this film and doesn't quite. There were moments where I was like, I could see something working here. Him and Colin Farrell are really good together in this movie. They have good on-screen chemistry. Several points in this movie, you could make this about I don't know, this conundrum he's in with the money. You could make it about transitioning to this bigger law firm, and he's kind of losing his morals along the way, but it doesn't have focus. It's just all of these different things happening with this character. And here's what this movie felt like to me. Okay, you remember the scene where he's first presenting Colin Farrell with his briefcase? It's probably a half hour into this movie. He's presenting Colin Farrell, who's this big ace attorney, this like Alan Shore Boston legal type attorney, and
slick back hair of the works.
He's great in this film. Like
he's pretty amazing.
But like when he's presenting Colin Farrell with that briefcase, and he's like, this is everything I've worked on for the past 35 years. We're gonna have this whole we're gonna take down like the police system. We're gonna it's gonna change the justice system forever. And then Colin Farrell kind of like brushes him aside, like he goes back in and kind of writes it off. I've seen this kind of thing happen in a movie before, and when it happens in a movie before, Denzel Washington would have fallen into a vat of eels and become a supervillain.
He basically does.
Or like, that's what this movie is. This movie is like, I don't know, Batman Forever if Edward Nygma never turned into the Riddler. Like, and that we never found out that Colin Farrell's actually Batman. It is a supervillain origin story where it never happens.
Yeah, well, like, there's the most interesting part of the movie for me was like the Roman J. Israel Esquire character trying to sort of reconcile like his past activist mindset with like current sort of grassroots movement, and like feeling sort of like he's stuck in a dystopia in terms of like the current criminal justice system, and wanting to like execute big change but not having the social skills or the heft to actually accomplish it. But halfway through his struggle with getting the things he wants to get accomplished, he decides to just steal a boatload of money. And so, in the preview, it kind of makes you feel like it's a period piece, like it's supposed to take place in the 70s, but then like immediately in the movie you realize it's modern day. He just dresses like that and has those headphones. And so, like, stuff that was coming off as sort of like of the era, like that bullshit he was pulling at the speech to the activists, like seemed sort of like misguided but quaintly nostalgic, and the preview was super jarring and uncomfortable when it took place in the movie. And so like you had this character who you were supposed to be rooting for, and all of a sudden you super weren't, and they never really got you back to the point where you wanted him to win or succeed.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a perfect character. He's not he has deep flaws, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that he is stuck in a certain era. Whether it's with newer technology, whether it's the kind of law he practices, whether it's the kind of protesting he does, and his hair and everything he has in his apartment. He, for better or worse, in a lot of cases worse, he is just kind of stuck in a certain way of thinking because of that's when he was young, that's when he was coming up and things like that.
And that was interesting.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Sorry, I lost the thread when I was complaining about other stuff, but my other point is that in the preview it made it seem like this is like a slow descent into corruption. This movie takes place over the course of 3 weeks. So he's like set in his ways and, passionate about what he believes in until all of a sudden he just isn't. In the course of 3 weeks.
I know what you mean right there, and I totally agree. I was thinking the same thing in this movie. They set it up from the beginning, because it's one of those movies where it shows you something close to the end, and then it has a title card that says 3 weeks earlier, which
It's like a little, like, Emperor's New Groove speech at the front, like, oh yeah, this llama used to be the emperor, and it's like him writing up a brief or whatever, I don't know, from lawyer speak, where he's like taking himself to court for being a bad person. It's like, okay, so apparently he eventually reaches redemption, but then the rest is just him just on like this track of his own personality and then just hopping off over a cliff into the sea.
No, that's true, and that was a big problem I had too, was that it was consistently hard to believe, especially when you get to the middle and when you get to the end. It was consistently very hard to believe this was only taking place within 3 weeks. So much happens in this 3 weeks. It was like when you get to that 3rd season of Lost and we're still supposed to buy this has only been a month since the pilot. Like all right. No, I completely agree. He would, and I see what kind of movie they're going for here, especially in his performance, his character, like I said, being very much stuck in his ways. But things would just happen because the movie has to go somewhere, I guess.
Just make it... there was no reason for him to steal that money. I'm still so angry about that. Because it was like, one bad thing happened where, like, he didn't take a plea that he should have.
Yeah.
And yeah, the young man that he was supposed to be defending went to jail. And so instead of, like, learning from that experience and, like, letting it add to his worldview, he goes and gets a turkey, bacon, maple donut at the sea, steals just a shit ton of money, slicks his hair back, and decides to be an evil lawyer. Yeah,
and when stuff like it's like I said, it's like this movie feels like it's made by a fan of Nightcrawler and not the actual person who made Nightcrawler, because stuff like this made sense in that movie.
So this is like the 50 Shades of Grey to Nightcrawler's Twilight.
Well, yeah, if Nightcrawler also sucked.
I don't know, I've never seen Nightcrawler.
It's a great fucking movie.
It's exactly like Twilight.
It's just like Twilight. No, Nightcrawler's fucking great. And this one, it's, again, like I said, it's one of those movies where I don't know why I'm watching this. I don't. This is so not one of the worst movies I've seen all year. But when I'm at something like the Emoji Movie, or when I'm at something like the Pure Flix movies, I know why I'm there.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, would I be at those movies if I wasn't doing this for a living? No. But because I am doing this for a living, yeah, that's why I'm there. The Emoji Movie, I think has the most views for one of the midnight screenings this year, because it's the fucking Emoji Movie. I know why I'm there. There's a reason why I'm there. I don't know why I'm talking about this. I don't know why I'm sitting in a theater watching Roman J. Israel Esquire, because...
this movie had stuff to say about, like, the broken criminal justice system.
No, it
and,
does.
Like, how difficult it is to affect change. But usually when you have, like, a broader concept to explain in a movie like this, you kind of have the plot surrounding the main character reflect that somehow. And this really kind of didn't. He talked about it a bunch and, like, was mired in it, but his life story didn't follow that arc, if that makes sense.
No, it does, because I don't know, maybe this movie needed a second or third draft.
Maybe this is just like a shitty human being talking about a horrible thing.
A shitty human being that started out good. Like, I know what kind of arc they're doing. He's being seduced by this other firm, I guess, even though throughout the movie I never looked at Colin Farrell like I thought he was a bad guy.
No, and, like, the firm immediately came around his way of thinking. They're like, oh, so, you know, it turns out it's okay. You know, we've got a couple more clients. We're going to start, like, a whole pro bono area for you, and I'd like to take a look at that briefcase. Yeah. He's like, sorry, I already stole money, like, 5 minutes ago, so I'm evil now, I guess.
You know what this movie is? This movie is a nothing version of The Devil's Advocate. If the
devil was like, you know what, it's fine.
Yeah, if the devil wasn't the devil and was just a lawyer who has a good... Actually, yeah, Colin Farrell has a pretty good arc in the movie. But I never looked at I always looked at Colin Farrell in this movie like he was a guy doing his job.
Yeah.
And seemed to be pretty successful at it. I never looked at him like he was some kind of evil...
He was a shill. He was kind of a shitty shill in the beginning, because there was that one scene where, like, those two lawyers were, like, making hilarious jokes about bad women, and Roman's like, don't do that, you're cockroaches, and...
Well, he wasn't like, there for that.
No, he wasn't, but he heard about it, and then he was like, oh yeah, don't do that anymore, that guy's in charge.
Yeah, yeah. Certainly. I mean, office politics, you know, they can suck whether it's the 70s or today.
They were just blowing off Steve.
But he
came around.
No, yeah,
quickly.
he has the best arc in the film.
Mm-hmm.
I wish this movie was about the two of them more. I wish the movie was about the two of... I don't know, pick something. Pick this movie being about these two guys who come from wildly different areas of practicing law, who have come together on this case that he's put together about plea agreements, or just remake The Devil's Advocate. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe this movie is about how you can redeem yourself and make good if you're a white guy. But if not, you will get gunned out in the street.
Oh, man. Well, look,
oh, sorry, spoiler alert.
Look,
that part wasn't in the preview.
Look, if that wasn't... The reason why that happened is because that guy got tired of waiting for him to turn into Electro.
Look, I threw him in like 5 vats of eels. I don't know why he doesn't have powers yet. His only power is memorizing the statutes.
That's what this movie was. It's like, now I know why people like Jack Napier fall into acid in the first 20 minutes.
Let's come back to how apt a comparison it is to compare him to Edward E. Nigma at the beginning of Batman Forever, because it's the same sort of like socially awkward guy who knows what he wants to accomplish but can't because he's not a great person.
Yeah. That's exactly what this movie is.
Maybe it is. It's a remake of Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell is Batman, I guess. And then Maya would, I guess, be Poison Ivy.
No, that's a different movie. She would be Dr. Chase Meridian.
Oh, that's right. I'm getting my Batmans confused.
Laura does that all the time. She gets those two movies confused.
So who's Two-Face then?
It was Billy D. Williams. in this, man, I don't know. I'm already slowly forgetting this movie.
I'm slowly remembering Batman Forever, so it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, exactly. Batman Forever's great.
That's one of the only Batman movies I saw in theaters.
I saw them all in theaters.
That and then Batman v Superman.
Oh God.
So my record is spotless.
I like Batman Forever.
That movie was good. It had a great soundtrack too.
Oh, as far as I'm concerned, we paid to go see this movie just so we could hear "I'll Be Around" at the ending credits. Like, I had no problem staying during the ending credits of this movie because that's one of my favorite songs of the 70s. I love that fucking song, and it plays over the ending credits. Like, I've been waiting for this movie to end, but you got me, movie. I'll hang around for a couple of more minutes.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I hung around because the second the movie pulls some shit where, like, the ending is just a slow, languid pull away from a normal, inconsequential thing that's happening, I'm like, okay, let's do this.
Oh, well, you should have been there during The Lone Ranger.
I just sat through the entirety of it.
You saw The Lone Ranger?
No, I'd have sat through the entirety of it.
Oh, yeah. Brian Letty and I were at that, and at the end, it's Johnny Depp walking away from the camera into the desert, and the credits are rolling, and Brian and I were like, no, and we got up, but Letty stayed, and she came out like 15 minutes later, and we were like, so did anything happen? She's like, no, the bird on his head like flew away or something. I'm like, oh. Any final thoughts about this movie?
Don't watch this movie. I guess, like, if it's on Netflix and you can be doing like 3 other things while you're watching it, it's got some interesting turns of phrase. Like, the character's obviously a fantastic orator. It's why he's been able to be an accomplished lawyer, even with his like severe social issues that are worth listening to. But I wouldn't sit and watch it.
No, I guess I'd classify this as a rental because there's nothing bad about it. There's nothing terrible about the movie. I don't know. It seems like it's being put out this time of year because, hey, maybe Denzel Washington will get an Oscar nod for a movie like this. He's excellent in the movie. There's not a bad performance in the film. It's, again, like I said, it's a well-shot movie. It's just, there's just nothing there. It's like so much talent used, I don't know, to make something that's not much of anything, really. But again, like I said, there's nothing I hate about it, so I can't be like, oh, fuck this movie or whatever. So I guess it's, if you want to rent it, sure.
I hate his decision to steal money because, again, he super didn't have to, although it wouldn't have been a movie if he hadn't.
Right. That was the closest this came to being a movie. So I have to applaud it for that.
And I don't think that Denzel gained a bunch of weight for this movie, which means that they had him in, like, butt pads, because his butt was very older, used to be fit man went to pot style butt. And I don't think that Denzel can grow one of those, so I think that they must have made him one out of foam, which would explain why the one scene where he's like in the ocean, he does so in a long sleeved shirt and is careful not to get it wet until the pull away.
Well, maybe Denzel smoked a lot of pot when he read this script. Maybe he saw something in it. I don't know. Should I talk about Wonder?
Yeah.
Well, it was better than this.
What was it about? Was it just that poor kid?
No,
actually, no. Actually people?
Not at all. Like, I mean, well, there's a little bit of that in there because I mean that's in the trailer, but it was actually really packed in there when I went to go see it. I saw it at like 4:40.
Apparently, it's based on like a best-selling novel.
Yeah. There was a lot of families in there. There was some people on dates, and then me in the very back.
Just throwing your popcorn and all the jump scares.
No, I had popcorn during Roman J. Isra because it was the longer movie. So yeah, I'm just sitting there with my like Arctic AMC Coke Zero watching this with these families and everything around. But no, it actually, I mean, you've seen it in the trailer where he's disfigured and it's his first year in an actual school as opposed to being, because before then he'd just been homeschooled by his mom. And
is it like a birth defect or was he burned?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a birth defect, and he's gone through different surgeries and things like that, surgeries to make him hear, to make him see, and he's still left with all the scars and stuff on his face. So it is about him transitioning into middle school, like I said, having been homeschooled, but the movie is actually more of an ensemble film. Like, it's broken up into different parts. Like, all of it certainly revolves around him and him going to school and making friends and his relationship with his family and everything like that. But throughout the movie, each character kind of has their own section in the movie. So it'll start out and it'll do a title card that says his name, and it'll show his first day at school, and then it'll show like the sister's name, and it'll follow her, and we'll see different events from her point of view. It does that for like a lot of characters in this. It does that with the kid who he makes friends with. It does that with a girl that the sister hadn't seen in a long time. You can tell that this comes from like an indie movie director, because a lot of it's kind of non-linear. It's from this, I never saw this movie, but I know a lot of people who like it. It's from the director of Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Okay. Is that Emma Watson one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I never saw it, but
yeah,
I hear it's good. Yeah. But it's from the same guy who did that. And you could tell while watching it, like when a movie does things like that, non-linear and stuff like that, and putting character title cards up, and now it's about this person. Like, I imagine this person has a background in indie movies. But it works. It works for the movie, because everyone's all likable. Like, the kid's funny. The family's incredibly likable. Like, they all... Like, okay, like, they all have some problems throughout the movie, but it's never anything like, oh, you know, the dad's a workaholic and the sister's a shitheel for no reason. Like, they're all, when they're all having problems with their own lives, at the end of the day, they're all still kind of there for each other.
Okay.
It is a really uplifting movie. Like, yeah, there's the stuff with the bullying and whatnot, but it never gets really unrealistic. Like, it never gets, like... they're future serial killers or anything, like it's It or something like Stephen King wrote this movie. No, there's just some school douchebaggery in it, and they usually end up getting their asses handed to them. It did feel kind of long towards the end of it, because I couldn't tell what the climax was gonna be. You know, after a while I was like, okay, so I'm watching, you know, about the kid in school and everything, and he's making new friends and stuff like that, but I was like, but I can't tell if this is almost over or not, you know?
That's when you check your old phone.
So I was like, is it about to end now? No, they're going on a camping trip. Okay, they're back from the camping trip. Is it about to end now? No, they're like, it's now graduation. But, you know, it was a likable movie. It was like, you would have teared up quite a bit in the movie.
I'm a storied crier.
It'd be hilarious if you cried during Roman J. Israel.
I'm trying to think of a scene where it would be comical for me to have cried during, and I'm having a hard time remembering any of the things that happened in that movie.
His fate, maybe?
I cried at his fate.
That would have been fucking hilarious. No, there was...
No!
The movie does some pretty funny stuff. Wonder does. Like, it references Star Wars a lot in it. Like, he's got, like, that little, like, braid
like
thing.
Like a Padawan braid?
I know, and I was like... Yo, dude, like, you might want to, I don't know, like, nix the rat tail before your first day of school.
Hey, no, come on. My friend in high school had one of those that she grew because it ended up being, like, down to her waist.
Oh,
this is prior to Star Wars, so she just grew up to be a cool guy.
Well, Dave had one.
Of course he did.
We all did. But I had the racing stripes, like the spike hair and racing stripes. Look, Vanilla Ice was big at the time, alright? I also had acid wash jeans, too.
I had for a little while, like, jet black hair, which was not great with my complexion. And
I
so
had that.
It looked a little bit like I was wearing an Uma Thurman from Pulp Fiction wig.
I had black. I colored my hair black, too, a couple of times. But he's a huge fan of Star Wars, and that gets... Like, Star Wars characters kind of show up in this movie. Like, the kid says at one point, like... Well, I guess if, you know, Chewbacca showed up on his first day of school, people would look at him weird, too. And then it shows Chewbacca in the courtyard. Like, like that. Like, that's pretty funny. The kid... And then, one of the bullies calls him Darth Hideous. And then Darth Sidious shows up behind him and goes, oh, ouch. And, like, I was... When that was happening, I was like, I'm guessing this movie is made by the same... studio that has the rights to Star Wars, maybe.
We can use them, let's use them.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like that in the book, probably. But,
and
like...
then Darth Sidious shows up, and he's like, what?
Just like when Tom Cruise showed up in American Psycho, the book. No, I recommend it. Like, I mean, I saw it for free, yeah, because of my rewards, but I recommend it. It was funny.
See Wonder, you guys. This is what I get for making decisions for myself. You got previews?
Yeah, totally.
That pen was out of ink, so I had to write them down. Vamp!
Spooky. Oh no, you're still on IMDb.
Where those dumb notes go?
See, this is why we use old school on our arms. Can't figure out this is just like in the movie where Roman J. Israel was trying to write down trailers and he couldn't figure his phone out. Okay, I remember the first trailer we got was, let me see if I can do this, was Downsizing.
Okay.
Downsizing was the first trailer we got. I like that the newer trailers are revealing that there seems to be some kind of conspiracy with the company that's shrinking people in the community or something like that they're all living in. I'm like, I'm looking forward to this. This looks kind of cool.
Next we have Acrimony, the Tyler Perry movie.
Okay.
That's Taraji P. Henson?
Yeah, Taraji P. Henson. Brian and I got that in front of Medea Halloween 2, because, I mean, of course, it's Tyler Perry, but, like, if that movie is 1/10 as good as the trailer is, I will be shocked. And also, if it's 1/10 as well put together and well edited as the trailer, it'll be the best thing Tyler Perry's ever directed.
Yeah, she's fucking terrifying in that trailer.
Oh yeah, she's
like,
great.
She's just like, she's sitting in like in her psychiatrist's office, like telling the story about like why she's so crazy. And like in the background, there's like this constant torrential rain, but over that, like it's steadily increasing drop of water that is just like.
It's a great trailer. but I'm of course a little leery about what the final product is going to be like because
Tyler Perry movie.
I've seen his movies before, and either I don't know. Like I said, I'm going into that with caution. It's a
Is that like
very
a
well
movie?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's a very well put together trailer, and I hope it's as good as the trailer is. Because at least, well, then Tyler Perry will have one really good movie to his writing and directing career.
It's a 50 Shades Freed.
Oh, I went to go get popcorn when that trailer was on.
Yeah, I still need to read the book so I can live tweet it.
It's not going to top the audience at 3 billboards going when that trailer came on.
That's why they showed us this preview, because we were seeing Roman J. Israel, which is the 50 Shades Freed, 2 Nightcrawlers, Twilight. The Post.
Oh, I came in when that trailer was here. We got that trailer once before, I think.
Let's give Meryl Streep another Oscar.
Yeah, why not?
She could, she could make like a little tower out of him. 12 Strong, the Declassified.
Oh, the horse thing?
Yeah.
When we first got the trailer for that, it was playing a really shitty cover of Won't Back Down by Tom Petty, and now it's playing one of those emo-ass trailer covers. And now, like, at least I think that's the trailer it did that for, and now it's something else, so maybe they figured...
I wasn't even listening.
Maybe they figured, like, well... He just died.
Maybe too soon.
Too soon to butcher this song. It looks like a January movie.
I'm speeding through these because I want to talk about the last one we saw. So Alpha, which was the like the caveman boy. It's basically The Good Dinosaur if The Good Dinosaur was a caveman boy.
I was thinking about that in the movie too. I was like, at first I was like, isn't it a little soon to be remaking 20,000 BC, the Roland Emmerich classic? And then the title card at the end goes, witness the relationship that changed man and dog forever, or something like that. I'm like, oh, it's an origin story about owning a dog. Yeah. Now I want to see the version with a saber-toothed cat.
Zach Braff. Hey guys, wonder how I got myself in this predicament.
Man, that movie looks like, you know what would have made The Revenant better? Cavemen and dogs.
It's a sneaky remake of Year One.
Yeah.
Proud Mary.
That looks awesome.
That movie looks so good. I'm excited to that doesn't seem like the one that you'd bring me to, but if like no one else wants to go,
probably we were both at Atomic Blonde.
Yeah. This movie looked like what Atomic Blonde was supposed to be.
Yeah,
and I say that hoping not to be disappointed by what this turns out to be.
I've gotten that trailer a bunch of times, and I love it every time we get the trailer. It's this Taraji P. Henson action movie, and it looks like a cool, like, kind of throwback to Pam Grier movies.
Yeah.
And
I got the font, like the Foxy Brown font.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a lot of fun, and every time I get the trailer for Acrimony, I'm always like, man, I wish it were the Proud Mary trailer. I want to see Taraji P. Henson just shoot people for 90 minutes.
See, and that's when it's okay to use, like, a remake of a... that might even have just been a mix of
oh, no,
the original song.
That was the Ike and Tina version.
Okay, because they kept like kind of like breaking it up for the action, and so I was having a hard time hearing. But yeah, it was very, very well made, this trailer. And like at the beginning, she's like putting on these ridiculously tall stiletto boots. And
yeah,
like, this is an action movie, man. I don't know, because that always bugs me when they're like running down the hallway in like 7-inch heels. But I think with this movie, it's gonna work.
Yeah, a movie like this, you expect that. I mean, this is
like kung fu. She's just stomping down a hallway and shooting someone in the face.
I mean, this appears to be a love letter to, you know, movies like Coffee, where Pam Grier was putting razor blades in her afro, so when the fight with the hookers comes, like, give me your bitch! Ah!
That's what you get, bitch.
I'm super excited for this movie. I was like, man, why am I watching this fucking Roman J. Israel shit?
We should be watching Proud Mary.
Yeah, I want to see Taraji P. Henson just shoot people for 90
like
minutes.
Various wigs.
Yeah,
it's just the preview's just like her stomping on a hallway, and then her putting on a wig and then stomping on another hallway.
Yeah.
And I'm completely on board for it.
I am so sold on that fucking movie. We were talking about that a few weeks ago when we first got the trailer for that. It was like we were between movies, so it was like me, Dave, Brian, and Irving talking or something. Or it was like 4 of us talking, and then we were like, have you guys gotten the Proud Mary trailer yet? And then I think a couple were like, no, what's that? I'm like, oh, you gotta see this trailer. It looks so fucking good. Irving had also gotten the trailer. He was like, oh yeah. He's like, now I'm looking forward to January.
It's a January movie. That's not. Maybe it'll still be good.
Well, yeah, but I mean, a movie like this, like, it's an action-sploitation movie. Like, a movie like that is like...
Like, it makes sense for them to put it in January, even if it's good?
Yeah, like, because at the end of the day, it looks like a really, really good time. When you worry about January movies is when it's like a drama. Or something that just looks instantly fucking forgettable. Or some shit. Or some shitty horror movie that Brian and I will be at.
Or 50 Shades Blacker.
Oh, that's in February, which means it should be good. Oh, wait, you said 50 Shades Black. Oh,
I sure did. That was a January movie, my friend.
Was it?
I will always remember because that's the first movie I went to see after I got pregnant.
Oh, you mean they didn't want to release that during Black History Month?
Why would you?
It's out of respect. 50 Shades of Black. Fuck that movie. Any final thoughts?
No, I'm just gonna... I feel bad that we ended on 50 Shades Blacker rather than on Batman Forever, because you guys, if you've never seen Batman Forever, you should probably go see it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Batman Forever is a great time. Alright, I don't know what comes out this weekend. There's something that I've never gotten a trailer for.
Ooh, did you want to tell them about what we're seeing on Friday?
Oh, yeah, right. We're gonna have an early review of, we're seeing an early screening of Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. I don't know if there's an embargo on it, which means we could still review it. It's just we'd have to post it whenever the embargo gets lifted.
I have no idea how that stuff works.
Basically, like, say you're at like a press screening or something, or any kind of advanced screenings, sometimes there's an embargo where if you're a reviewer, whether online or print or something like that, they'll say you have to wait until this date to post your video. I don't know if that's the case with this movie or not. It might not be. I don't
feel
know.
Like if they're
I can look it up.
If they're giving like tickets through the Prime thing, then probably they're trying to build buzz, right? So
word of mouth. Yeah, word of mouth, certainly. I can't remember if that's happened before, because I've only been at a few advanced screenings, and I can't remember, because I remember we posted the review for that like a month before it came out. There might have been an embargo for King Arthur, but I probably just didn't give a shit. I can't remember.
They're gonna hunt you down in the desert and just shoot you.
Well, we're seeing it on Friday. And some other thing comes out with Rene Russo and Tommy Lee Jones and Morgan Freeman that's called Just a Movie for Old People. Or I don't know, it's got one of those titles. Like
Mingling Wrinkles.
Huh?
Mingling Wrinkles? I think Jackie Cation calls those movies where it's like older people having having sex and relationships. She calls them Mingling Wrinkles. There's
a poster for it in there, but I've not gotten a single trailer for that movie. And the poster looks like one of those movies. Tommy Lee Jones looks like they cut him out from the Man of the House poster and stuck him on there. And Rene Russo's got sunglasses and is like, like.
I can picture it, because I can picture it.
Yeah, right. All right, we'll see you then.
Bye.
Later. Thanks for watching.